Oh, hello people, and welcome back to part 79 of Orchid Bay, our Vanilla City Skylines series. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We got some additions to go through that we made on live stream. So we've added some really cool greenbelt park space with a great wall, some cafes, some little green cities markets, and lots of stuff to complement the outskirts of the European area. And then we've also done some custom graveyards, which was such a cool way to use some vanilla prop out the back of the cathedral. So thanks to you for hanging out on the streams. We had a ton of fun. And also built up a little war memorial out here as well, which has great views across all of Orchid Bay. And also apologies for last episode, and we had a bit of a Sopranos moment, where the episode just cut to black in the middle of the detailing review. I don't know why this happened, because it was there in the edit, but for some reason the episode just didn't export all of that video. No idea why. So we will spend some time, indeed at night time, looking over the little town centre that we did here, that you guys unfortunately missed outside of the detailing time-lapse. So we had some really cute town centre spaces going on around here with the props and stuff, and different sort of playground themed assets for a bit of a family vibe. And then the buses through here as well. With some really pristine views from this airport viewing deck, of course, across the whole sort of span of Orchid Bay. So sorry you didn't get to bask in this view. The cinematics of this episode are really cool. It kind of panned out to this like superb view across all of the nighttime lights. So sorry that happened. It was a really cool build and quite unfortunate, but we will be over here again as we come to keep building out this space here. And yeah, we'll keep growing it out as we need that stuff. But today we're going to be doing one of the more unique builds available to us in City Skylines, which is of course the Space Center. So over here we have a big chunk of land that I have no current plans for. And it's quite sheltered as well from the rest of the infrastructure with the natural topography here. We've also got a river should we need access to water. And there's some sort of national country road connections available out here as well for being tapped into. That's what we'll do today. Definitely build up one of the most unique builds we can do in cities in terms of a space center. Right on the fringes of the Orchid Bay sort of land area, I guess. So, let's get into it, shall we? So this is a build I'd like to build kind of from the inside out, given the kind of quirkiness of the assets we're using today. So, let's go into our parks and plazas, and we're going to grab the primary one first of all, which is the Chirpex launch site, which isn't there, is it? Is it a unit building? That's why. This one here is going to be the meat and potatoes of the build, right? So you almost want the launch pad in the middle of the flat land. So let's grab our first industrial road. We'll have this facing this way. So I almost think the assets rather than the networks really sell a build like this, right? So let's have this here right now, and then we'll see what we think of it. So very unique, of course. You can't just you can't just put this out here on a road. This has to be in its own facility. Some of the most illegal vanilla gameplay, just placing this on a road and then being done with it. So I'm pretty happy with that, right? I think that's pretty cool. It's in a nice sort of position here, right in the open field. So there is also another launch site that comes with the game from the high-tech content creators pack that I'd like to include part of today's build as well. So have this out here, and then we're going to search base in here, and this is going to give us the space shuttle launch. I don't think this one launches, does it? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But either way, it's another space-themed asset. So I know I'm likely to get quite a few comments on this video saying, Egg, why don't you include a Hadron Collider in this build? And I would do if it wasn't for the fact that it destroys your education system, because it provides education for every level forever, which is a little annoying really, because it's quite a cool asset, the Hadron Collider. Definitely one of the sort of less annoying monuments, I think. Some of them are a little ridiculous, but yeah, it destroys your education system, so I don't really want to do that for Orchid Bay. So there we can have our launch site, at least the two main launch buildings anyway. Okay. So of course this asset here does actually launch rockets off, and it wants resources to do so. So let's go ahead and get everything hooked in now. So I think do we want to have I think we will leave a little bit of a gap between the fence and the road. 330 to be precise, yeah. I think we will do that. Pin that one down there. Then we'll probably run some path patterns around the edge of this as well, just to give it a little bit more breathing room. We'll also maintain that same distance across here as well if we can. 330 is about that node there. Yep, 330 back to the fence gate. That's wonderful. So we'll box in the whole launch facility here. And then we'll give our entrance. So there's a couple of options for an entrance. We've got the National Road we mentioned at the start of the episode. That actually runs around the edge of Greater Denise and the FA Synergies project. We could just bring it out here, which I think is the most obvious option. But I probably don't want this to be the only way into the launch site. So we'll definitely switch up to multi-directional highway road for this while we're out in the sticks. Definitely want the sort of slow road. We'll also upgrade this road here as well to high speed. It kind of serves as more as a bit of a single carriageway rather than a local road. So let's cross over the river just with a single pillar is all we want. Now we could upgrade that. We'll go for something slightly more industrial looking, which would be the industrial bridge. We'd also split this to do industrial highway because that does have a very distinct elevated visual. What this does when it's elevated anyway over the right amount of water. I think we'll just stick with industrial road for right now. We'll change it at the time-lapse if we need to. And then let's grab ourselves that highway road again, and this can come back into the facility out of here. And I imagine just for the aesthetic of a security gate, probably pop a toll road in here as well. Now let's go for two-way large. Something like that. Would be decent enough. Then we'll do some large and merging out of here as well. Let's grab the two-way 4-lane. We'll have that run to the bridge and then it can go down back to 2-lane again. And I guess we'll get to. Cool. But we could actually use the 4-lane industrial road here, couldn't we? As we allow a few more lanes to turn off into here. Cool. So, not too bad right now. It's pretty underwhelming at the minute though, isn't it? I'd certainly love to build in a viewing platform as well for people out here. For tourists to come in and view. So let's have a look at that while we've got the idea fresh in the head. Let's also have another road come down this way and just be under this along the river. Now, it's very possible there'll be another town out here that, having recently discovered the node limit is quite a lot higher than I thought it would be. It's unlikely we'll get a full town out here. It might just be a couple of little rural villages. We'll sort of see what happens. So there's a natural hill here, isn't there, we can see? There you go, that's perfect, isn't it? So let's wind the road up this hill. And then we'll create a viewing platform up here. There we go, up to there, I think should be good. Then we'll probably accentuate the hill as well. Go ahead and grab our terraforming. And we'll just push that out. So we've got a bit more room to play with. Cool, and then we'll develop something up here. So let's have, first of all, our first sort of holding road. Now we could use pedestrian road for this, kind of similar to what we did in the suburb last episode actually. I just say that. Having cut the episode to black. I love the fact that someone says, why is this a Sopranos moment for Egg? That did make me laugh, that comment. I was like, it wasn't supposed to be. I was so irritated having kind of messed up an edit. Is that a cougar? It is a cougar, isn't it? We're seeing more and more cougars these days, and actually less and less deer. Like the deer are a dwindling population. Should we just go see if they're in the hunting grounds? I always do enjoy checking it while it comes onto the brain. Yeah, they are. Yeah, the carnivorous deer are here. There's 2 of them now. Have you hunted anything recently? There's a wolf over here that I better watch his back. I absolutely love that. They still spawn all these episodes later. They're still spawning in this patch. It's absolutely hilarious. Just who would have guessed that would have become such a key part of Orchid Bay's lore. It's so funny. Anyway, nature reserve platforms. So we can use a pretty similar configuration to what we did last episode. Let's have 1, 2, and 3 for right now, I think. Even the cougars come to watch the launch here too. Yeah, pretty cool place to come. Obviously, the public would not be allowed on the launch site itself, so we can allow them to view over here. And I wouldn't even mind giving them a motel as well from that content creator pack that I can't quite remember which one it comes from. They're not unique buildings, are they? That's why, Egg. They are mid-century modern motels. Yes, this one here. Yeah, wouldn't mind having a motel here, I don't think. Probably not have it pedestrian road here, though. We'll be up to that point. Maybe we can have some additional parking at the back here. Go for 4 deep at least. There we go. I think this will be a fairly popular spot, so make sure we provide a decent amount of car parking for them. And some cute trees around here just to hide. Stuff like that. And then we can get a cafe up here as well. Maybe a touch of commercial zoning. We'll see what grows in around it. But either way, I'll be very happy having the little viewing platform up here. And we can get some rocks and fencing around it in our time-lapse, of course, to flesh it all out. But I think just another little point of interest to bring along into the viewing platform here. Don't mind that at all. Cool. We'll have that there. So the other remaining options to include around this sort of building is the high-tech stuff. Now we've used quite a lot of it. Specifically the software development studio would have been good here. We actually put that in the car factory. But we do have one left, which is the nanotechnology center. Now, it looks like I can align that pretty much perfectly with the launch site, which I think is going to play into some nice symmetry designs. So let's have a little look at this. Let's go ahead and knock it off of this main road. So everything's kind of have its own little kind of site within the site, if you know what I mean. So we'll have that there. Then we'll place the nanotechnology center, which is the last of the high-tech content creator buildings, all now used. Pretty sure we've got all of those now. All the Japanese ones have gone beside the last tower. Still a fair bit of seaside resorts. Skyscrapers obviously still got quite a few. We're making a big dent in all the content creator assets now. So I've also been wanting to use the Sahara Research Institute for quite a long time. Now I don't know where else I'm going to get this here, but I think it would be pretty cool to kind of have this as the space agency headquarters, right? A very modern looking building, if not slightly touristic with the tables on top of it, but you know, be good to come up here for lunch, wouldn't it, and look upon the launch site, I think. I definitely wouldn't be averse to having the Sahara Institute here, and maybe have it up against the river here. Might be quite nice. Maybe more over this side might be appropriate. So why don't we explore that? So let's have this run alongside this way. Start bringing out some more of these big industrial road frames, and I want everything to be quite largely spaced apart from each other in this build as well. I don't want lots of very tightly packed in things. These things take over. Look at the biggest, obviously, inspiration here is to look at Cape Canaveral in Florida. But whatever space center you look at, they're all spread apart so far. So I certainly don't hate the Sahara Institute there. It's a little underwhelming in the shadow, isn't it? If we can come around to the other side of it to get the colour on it. I think it certainly has a place in a build like this, doesn't it? I reckon I probably want some car parking at the front of this build. So let's factor that in. We'll have a couple of car parks here. Now, it's really unfortunate we can't get props. We actually used this asset quite recently in Dessia and did quite a good job of it, if I may say so myself. We did some really cute props around the edge. That was a lot of fun to work in. So here, I'd almost like the asset to be sat there to include the car parks in it. So if I can get the road here. So we might be able to place it on that one there. That way the concrete texture just merges in, doesn't it? I think is quite cool. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. Maybe we'll place in these car parks on the edge with the smaller ones. Then we can bring the road tightly around the back edge of it. End up with something like that. I think it's going to be a pretty cool configuration. So I think we can have our Sahara Institute sit here like this, okay? I don't think I mind having this as part of our sort of facility here at all. I think it's going to be quite cool, isn't it? Very nice. So let's also include some more high-tech buildings here. I think the medical laboratory from the Japanese pack would also be welcome down here as well. So I think we'll have this kind of facing our main road over here. So we'll have that there, and then again I want to save a little bit of car parking room up at the front. So let's have that there, and then again give each kind of facility in this complex its own car park. So we'll grab our car parks from here. We'll do 2, I think. We'll have a connection in there, and then we'll put the medical lab outside. I don't think we've placed this in Orchid Bay yet, have we? The medical labs. It's a really nice asset. As my memory is failing me if we have put this down before, but I don't think we have. But another sort of high-tech, modern-looking asset, right? Definitely a bit of rocket admin, if you like. And speaking of rocket admin, actually, I'd also like some fuel tanks as well, which we can probably use at the oil tanks here as well. Now, do we want to have anything else here? We could use some oil industry assets, this kind of stuff, you know, which I think we might do. There is actually a large amount of oil out here. That's what that slightly kind of brown green is on the edge of the river there. And that is oil resource. But I think the actual oil assets themselves are probably a little bit too far from the kind of space agency thing. This sort of thing I think we can get away with. I think we will. So why don't we have our rocket fuel depot? Let's see what the complex is looking like here. Let's have it over this side maybe, towards this little cove here. Maybe they do have it stored underground. How are we doing for topography over this way? Starting to come a little bit hilly. That's okay though. I'd almost like to use that asset we just had. The storage caverns as a bit of an entrance into the fuel depot. So we'll have this here. And then how large are the other assets? There's this one here. I think we'll probably go for the large ones, I think, right? So let's have them here. I do want to terraform this as well because I don't want these on the hill. But happy to have them in this little cove here. As if it actually looks like they're storing this fuel underground for safety and combustion purposes. So we'll feed that there, and then let's have 1, 2, I think we'll do 4 of them. We can have a big mass amount of oil out here. Are any of the factories actually using oil products? Car factory wants plastic. Is there one over here as well, isn't there? Yeah, it's just the car factory requesting plastic, isn't it? Which it is storing nearby. I would have set that up, wouldn't I? Yeah. But there's not a vast amount of plastic being produced in the city. So we could possibly have a look at having some plastic production nearby, maybe just with a petrochemical plant. Wouldn't mind it. Might actually have the oil industry main building over here then. And please also get suggestions as well down below for the name of this space center. Definitely let you guys name it why it's one of the more sort of unique, quirky builds. Most voted will win. So what is the name of Orchid Bay's space agency? Please let us know down below. But with that here, I reckon we will have a little bit of on-site plastic production just to help that car factory over the hill. Now let's go for something like that, and then we can box it and just pretend it's part of our fuel storage capacity. And then up here we're 360, so we'll have that again there. Bring that down, and then we can finish off our rocket fuel storage here. No, we can't. We need a little bit more than that. Actually, 390 is what we need. And then we can have those in there as well. Fabulous. So these will fill up with lots of oil over time via import. But I'm pretty happy with that as a bit of a rocket fuel depot over here. But otherwise, that does feel like a good place for detailing time-lapse. I'm going to do a lot of path and fence work around this entire facility, with some forestry as well, and also tie together our little sort of viewer's observation platform. And hopefully by the end of that, we will actually be ready to launch a rocket. They do take quite a long time to grow up here. And I reckon we'll also name the rocket as well as one of our wonderful patrons. And we'll go for Mugiwara, one of our tier 3s. And we'll go for the Mugiwara 4, I guess. I always support Muggy. Really appreciate it, buddy. Otherwise, let's detail up the Orchid Bay space rocket and observation platforms. And then we'll be right back. Okay guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we? So we'll head over to the main entrance where we have now a tree and fence border and lots of pathwork around just to help decorate that empty space and provide a little bit of boundary to each of the different sectors across the facility. Added in a cryopreservatory as a side building to the medical labs, which I think help complement each other quite nicely, with a little bit more car parking in here as well. You'll also notice the addition of the countdown clock, which would have been really cool to have this actually counting down. Of course, now it's just a QR code to CS2, so we'll have to pretend that this does actually count down in the run-up to a rocket launch, maybe. All the staff that have worked very hard to make this happen and watch the launches from here or something, but also has great views as well from the sort of public viewing spot, which we'll get to in a second as well. Outside of the Nanotechnology Centre, there's just lots of geometric sort of pathwork going on to help create some cool designs. And then including some work with some bushes, airport aprons and pathways to help create a walkable concrete space with a little moon statue in the middle, which is quite appropriate. At least I think it's the moon, isn't it? It's supposed to be, I suppose. Sort of looks like a little sort of crescent moon, I guess. But you can use your imagination at least anyway. And I think this is quite thematic and appropriate for the build, isn't it? Really cool there. And then more pathwork around here, around our second launch site, which does actually have the aesthetic, of course, of a, what's it actually called? The Colossal Eagle Skyliner. It's very cute, isn't it? So we actually have the aesthetic of a rocket here as well, which is always cool. And we will also actually launch a rocket in our cinematics as well, so don't forget to hang out for that as the rocket blasts off at night time across the entire view of Orchid Bay, so make sure you hang around for that towards the end of the episode. That should be a lot of fun. And then across the river, we've added in some rocks to kind of give the impression that this is built on top of a little rocky outcrop in the landmass over here. The road snakes up through the forest lining where we've extended a lot of those tree patterns we've got around the more rural parts of Orchid Bay, just to kind of demarcate those field boundaries. So we got those around here, and then up at the top we have the motel, which we plays in the episode, which has now been detailed up with lots of bush lining, and there's a cafe up here as well with some flower beds. More dining areas, also dropped in a little King Leno mall specialisation as well to get in one of his cafes, which is really appropriate for up here, isn't it? Sort of come stay at the Palm Springs Motel, and get something to eat, and you know, all the sort of people in the cosmology field can sit up here and watch views of the rocket as it blasts off from the space facility. And of course our Sahara Centre, which I also forgot about, is over here as well, with all of its parking wrapped around it now. And finally a nice place to use this asset, I think. Definitely having it involved in the space agency, I think is a cool way to use it. And a really unique area, as these things always are, the space centres. If you haven't watched that one in ILO, I highly recommend you go check that out as well. That was a lot of fun to build, that one. And then we've also got our little rocket fuel depot over here as well, which actually sits in quite nicely around the forest boundary now, with the main building. A little bit of plastics processing too, so we can actually have some plastics, which will be helping to keep our factory over here fed, which will be quite nice. So that'll get fed as well from this over here. And then that leaves us with a very unique centre right on the edge of Orchid Bay. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully the episode has actually exported past the detailed review this week. So sorry about that last week. I was super annoyed with myself. I don't know what happened with the export. It was there in the edit, but it wasn't there in the export and then the upload. Super weird. I'll make sure it doesn't happen this week. If it has happened again this week, then you guys obviously aren't hearing me talk about this bit because it didn't make it out of Adobe Premiere. But either way, if you have enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below always really help the channel to grow. And thank you for the continued support on the City Skylines 1 content. I'm glad you're enjoying both this and Thessia, alongside a now modded Edinburgh over in Cities 2. Got the Find It mod and the prop line tool over there now. So if you haven't been following up with our CS2 content, we've got a much more palatable quality of life mod set up on CS2 now, so check it out if you haven't already. I'm actually really enjoying building out Edinburgh at the minute, working with the town of Bourbon, so thank you for all support on both series. Otherwise, another really quirky build ticked off for Orchid Bay in the last 10% of the run up to the end of the build now. Of course, we know we hit 90% of the node count last week, so we are in the final stretch of this city now. As always, a massive shout out to all the patrons that are supporting the channel. If you're interested in supporting, there are links down to Instant Gaming and Patreon down below if you're interested in getting a little bit more involved with the channel. Otherwise, please do enjoy the rocket launch. It should be pretty spectacular over the nighttime vistas of Orchid Bay from this part of the map. I'll show up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.